But you know what it's time for?
I don't know if it is.
I think it's time we got to rate some stuff.
Go on and rate it!
This is going to be an interesting one because I did my research. I got a bunch of numbers put together, and that's how I basically put my rating from all the numbers from the last season. And Patrick's just literally basically going to go off of memory and his gut feeling.
Yep, that's basically it.
Nice. So we'll see how these two lists pan out. Again, we never talk about these lists beforehand, so we never know what each other's picked. But I say we kick it off, and I'll let you start with number 10.
Am I going to get the evens?
You're going to get the evens.
At number 10, I have mine and your pocket quarterback with the Arizona Cardinals.
I had the Las Vegas Raiders at number 10.
See, if it was just against the Chiefs, I would count that.
I didn't just count those two games.
The rest of the time, though, they've been so up and down. I just haven't had any. I didn't have enough faith to put them in the top 10, personally.
I mean, they were in the top 10 in total yards per game for an offense, so they made the top 10 in that. They were a top 10 passing offense, not so much running. So they could move the ball. They were 10th in scoring, and that's why they've been the bottom of my list. They weren't so good with the turnovers. That's where their big issue was. That, and they couldn't get a really great run game going.
I don't even remember who they drafted, but it was the Raiders, so it probably wasn't really that good.
At running back?
No, just who they drafted. They had offense or defense.
Oh, this past draft.
Yeah. So what would benefit those numbers? What did they do to benefit those numbers this time around? And being the Raiders, probably nothing.
I mean, I think they just need to bolster that offensive line because I know they have a good running back, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Josh Jacobs?
Yes.
Oh, and they just added Kenyon Drake, too, I think. Did he go there?
I'm looking right now, looking at their whole running backs list.
I think it did.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake, Joshua Jacobs. So, yeah, they have a good duo of running backs. They just need to be able to actually spring them free for some big runs. And I'll have to double check, but I think Joshua Jacobs might have missed some time last year also.
So, having looked at zero numbers, I just thought about A.J. Green, DeAndre Hopkins, Connors. What is it? What's the one from Pittsburgh that went to Arizona? What's his first name?
James Conner, the running back?
Yeah. James Conner. My pocket quarterback, Larry Fitzgerald, hadn't officially retired yet, I don't think.
Nope, not yet.
So, that's a good offense. And I think they're only just... Yeah, I mean, even then, my pocket quarterback has been amazing.
I love how you call him that because he's so tiny.
He fits in your pocket. It's not because he doesn't run.
Oh,
I mean, he does throw. He throws first. He just doesn't eliminate all his runs. He's not a running quarterback like somebody I know.
Who would that be?
What?
Who would that be? Who's the running quarterback that you talked about?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. He's just a running back.
Wow.
Still not even a quarterback. You guys all know my thoughts on Lamar Jackson. I think he has the potential to be a good quarterback. I don't think he'll ever be in the spot 2, and I think in 2 to 3 years, he won't even be in this league. Maybe sooner. This year will really be the deciding factor. I think it's going to be a downturn for him. Oh, okay.
9.
At 9, I put the Seattle Seahawks.
They also didn't make my list. But just because offensively, they'll start off amazing.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did enough to fix that offensive line. I could be wrong. At number 9, I had the Los Angeles Chargers.
Ooh. I can see why you put the Chargers up there kind of towards. I was debating it because they had a really good passing attack. Herbert just lit the league on fire last year. Completely earned his Offensive Rookie of the Year. But, I mean, they couldn't crack the top 10 scoring. Couldn't crack the top 12 or 13 in turnover differential.
See, mine was more on what I think they will do. I think they're going to get better, and I think they got some offensive linemen, even though they lost Forrest Lamp and Forrest Lamp's Lamps, or Forrest Lamp's Forrest Lamps. I think they bolstered the offensive line to help out the rookie. So I just think that they were good enough last year. I think they'll be better this year because, rookie, unless he hits that second-year slump, which is always possible, I just don't think he will.
I mean, for his sake, I hope not, because I really like him. I hope he can be the guy to bring the Chargers some kind of success.
I remember you having him rated pretty high as in the quarterbacks list for his rookie when we rated quarterbacks. So,
I mean, it's not just that he played well. He played well on a Chargers team that nobody expected anything out of.
And did they fire the coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, offensive rookie of the year, and they still fired the coach.
Offensive rookie of the year, top 10 passing attack, 270 yards a game through the air.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
I'm curious. I can't think of the receiving core. I just assume they still have Keenan Allen.
I don't think he's left. I mean, for their sake, I hope he didn't. That's a big weapon to lose.
But tell me about the Seahawks.
I mean, they didn't crack the top 10 in total yards. It wasn't yardage though, but they could score. Like, they didn't make the top 10 in yardage, but they were 8th in a total scoring offense. And they cracked the top 10 in turnover differential, so they took care of the ball. And yeah, they faded towards the end because their offensive line gave up. But when their offensive line is doing their job, that's probably the scariest offensive football, honestly.
It could be. The only thing, I mean, DJ Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, I forget even who I was running the ball for him anymore, but it's interchangeable.
And it is, because the first half of the season, Russell was the runaway MVP.
Mm-hmm. But he gets hit more than anybody else. He is disgruntled. The offensive line, I don't think they did anything to it, really. And so you're sitting here looking, is he going to be better when he's older? I mean, I believe they might even got him another wide receiver. I could be wrong.
I think Russell himself, the player, will be fine because he takes really good care of himself. He stays out of trouble. But it's whether or not his offensive line is going to keep letting him down when the games start to really count.
That is the question, and that's why.
But when they're functioning at full capacity, they're so scary.
Mm-hmm.
But because they have
Russell's improvising, his improvisation, it's second to none.
Because he's spent all that time running for his life. It's just a skill he's kind of developed.
We really need to start syncing up here. That's 2 we didn't match on. It's 2.
And what was I about to say? I had a thought. I lost it.
Here, well, I'll pick it up.
Yeah, that's why. Because that second half collapse of what they did last year, that's why they're only in there at 9th.
And if anybody's watching live, why don't you tell us what you think? And if you're watching archived, why don't you tell us what you think? Because I mean, these are ones people get pretty involved in because there's only 32 teams.
Yep.
And we're taking basically a third of them right here.
Yep.
What do you think about my number 8? The Cleveland Browns.
Oh. I had someone else in their division. I had the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh, see, I put them higher up because they have such a solid run game.
But that's all they had.
I know. Listen, they got Sammy Watkins and they got Hollywood Brown and they got that kid they drafted, Bateman, Rashad Bateman. They're going to be a passing attack to be dealt with.
Maybe.
Or they're just going to run the ball twice as much. Anyway, I'm just going to say the Cleveland Browns, I like what they do as an offense. They can put up points. They need to be a little more consistent, but just, I don't know. I couldn't leave them off the list because of what they have done as an offense with Baker and what's his face? Odell Beckham. He's coming back, I think. And
yeah,
I love Landry. I've loved Landry since he got drafted. He just gets in there, and then they got that dual rushing attack with Hunt and that other guy.
Right.
So, a lot of offense there.
They have a lot of room to improve, though, because with all that talent, the offense stalled a lot more than it should have last year.
Yeah, no, that's to say they have to be more consistent. It's like they can go And against Tennessee, they put up like 900 yards of offense in the first half and then let Tennessee come back in the second.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I put Baltimore in this spot, because they had the top rushing attack in the league.
Probably by a long shot. When your quarterback runs, when your running back runs, when your receivers run.
Yeah, but they had 191 yards per game rushing as a team.
They averaged 182 yards passing.
The next closest was Tennessee at 168.
Nice.
But, I mean, they weren't top 10 scoring, obviously not top 10 in passing. I mean, no, they were top 10 scoring. They weren't top 10 in total team yards.
Yes, because their passing is like a quarter of what the normal NFL team does.
But they were 6th in scoring, like tied for 9th in fewest turnovers given as offense. Cracked the top 10 turnover differential. So they took care of the ball. They can run the ball. They just got to learn to throw. They just have to learn to throw.
That's at least 4 that we don't have the same. We're going down.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that we're going to have.
At some point,
I don't think we're going to have the top 3 in the same order. We'll see.
Maybe not in the same order, but we'll at least start seeing us match up with the same teams.
Well, to be fair, I do have Baltimore in my top 10, so that's a start.
Yeah. I don't.
7.
In the 7th spot, I have the New Orleans Saints.
Wow. They definitely didn't make my list.
Again, I'm going off what they did last year, so I'm taking the Drew Brees numbers.
See, I dropped Drew Brees out because he won't be there, so that offense
and
doesn't consist of Drew Brees in mine. But see, that's what's great about Up to God. This is his list.
Come this time next year, the Saints might be not off this list. They might not be a top 10 offense. Or maybe Jameis finally gets his stuff together and they become the top offense. Who knows?
And interceptions. I mean, what? This is where I have the Tennessee Titans.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They lost some receiving, so they basically just have A.J. Brown. And then, obviously, they got King Henry running like a gentleman, pinky up.
Yep.
And that's why I put him in here. But I think they're going to take a step back from what they did last year. And I'm looking at as they are right now, whereas you were looking at the way they are last year, which is fine.
Does King Henry lead the league in rushing again this year?
I mean, I won't rule it out. I think he'll be top 3. I think that the Vikings running back and the Packers running back could give him a run for his money. If Rodgers does end up elsewhere or sitting, Aaron Jones could definitely have that because they're going to be doing nothing but running.
Yeah.
So, good chance, but that's why I put him in here. I mean, I like Tannehill. He does some stuff, but I think Tannehill can only do his stuff because he has Henry. So if they stuff Henry and all his only outlet's A.J. Brown, maybe someone else steps up. But as that is, I think they're going to take a step back from what they were last year. So
maybe, but they leaned heavy on the run last year because, like I said, they were 2nd in total rushing per game as a team.
Mm-hmm.
They did not crack the top 10 in passing, even with whatever weapons they had besides A.J. Brown last season.
They had a tight end, Jonnu Smith, maybe? Is that right?
Yeah, he left.
Yeah.
But they were 4th in scoring. And they gave the 2nd fewest turnovers as an offense. So they took care of the ball, they put up points, and they did it through the run.
Yes,
and
they did.
So they are on my list, but they're little ways up. But they're, I think Tennessee's better than that. New Orleans, though, it was not the same Drew Brees we were used to watching.
No.
They were still, they were still good. They were still the 2 seed coming
They were still winning when Drew Brees was out, though. With the Taysom, with that, everything.
They went, 6-0 without Drew?
I think so.
Yeah. I think that's because of their defense, though, because Taysom Hill didn't really crush at any of those games.
They may or may not have made my defensive list that's already done for next week.
Oh, I'm pretty sure once I look at the numbers, they'll make mine, too. They were. That's one of the better Saints defenses I've ever seen.
I'll almost guarantee our defensive numbers will line up a little better because I actually looked at numbers for that one.
But yeah, even with Drew Brees, the Saints didn't crack the top 10 in passing yards per game. But with Alvin Kamara, they were 6th in rushing. Alvin Kamara is a monster.
Yes.
Arguably the best back in football.
Well, basically, if he gets to play Green Bay, that's kind of inflating the numbers, though.
Well, and whoever he scored 6 touchdowns on.
Oh, that is a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, that's tied the record.
Yeah. I know.
I think he's the best complete back in the league. Like, as far as pure rushing, it's Derrick Henry for sure. But as far as rushing, catching out of the backfield,
blocking.
Yeah, pass blocking. I think Alvin Kamara is the best all-around back in football.
It makes sense. I like that. I like that.
And again, New Orleans was tied for third turnover differential, so they took care of the ball. That's why, even though they weren't super duper impressive on offense, they were still really, really good.
Makes sense.
That's why I got them at 7. Now again, no Drew. They could easily drop to the bottom of the pile real quick.
Oh yeah, I don't think they'll be bottom, but I don't think they're in the top 10, which I didn't put them in my top 10.
Who do you got 6?
Indianapolis Colts.
I have the Indianapolis Colts. Yes,
flip yeah.
Look at us go.
I did Carson Wentz, Indianapolis Colts. So you're doing Phillip Rivers Colts.
I'm doing Phillip Rivers, Indianapolis Colts.
But I don't think there's going to be much of a let-off. In fact, I think they may have a better passing game with Carson Wentz and Frank Wright than Phillip Rivers and Frank Wright. I don't think, if anything, there'll be a drop-off. They have, God, what is the running back? They got that nice young running back. So he's still there. So I'm looking forward to what Indianapolis does. I'm a firm believer that they're going to be pretty good.
Yeah. I think Carson Wentz is going to show that with a better squad around him, because I think this team is better than what Philly gave him to work with. Other than Ertz.
Yeah. And who knows? Ertz could still be there.
Yeah. Now, running backs for the Colts. Are you thinking of Jonathan Taylor or Marlon Mack? Jonathan Taylor?
I like him. I don't know why. It's just like he's the most forgettable, talented running back there is.
That's because they're focusing on Phillip Rivers because they didn't know how much longer they were going to do it.
Just flipping, he's awesome.
Here's the crazy part. The Colts were 10th in the top 10 in yardage per game. But they didn't have a top 10 passing attack or a top 10 rushing attack. It was just balanced.
Yeah, no, it was a very good team. And what's funny is you don't remember how good that defense was. I know we're talking offenses, but that's what I was worried about when we played them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
but, Indianapolis was 9th in scoring. They did freeze up a little bit in the red zone once in a while. But they were 3rd in fewest turnovers, 2nd in turnover differential. Took care of the ball real well. Phillip Rivers did not throw as nearly as many interceptions as we're used to seeing him throw in San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever.
Yeah, wherever he was, it doesn't matter. Because now he's retired and coaching.
And retired, coaching, and raising just an army of children.
Flipping, yeah, right. Flipping right, yeah, daggum. Where are we at?
5.
This is where I put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Damn it.
Oh.
That's where I put the Baltimore Ravens.
Ooh.
I have a lot of faith in their running game. Because that's what he's done. He has had a good offense. The passing numbers are just crap. Sure, he has high completion percentage. He gets some touchdowns. But he runs, and hits Mark Andrews. Runs, hits Hollywood Brown on the slant. It's not a lot of passing, but they still score points. They still rush like crazy. And I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt that maybe this year they'll turn it around and let him pass. See, Sammy Watkins, Hollywood Brown, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews. He has a receiving core. If anybody says after this year, whenever he sucks, if they say, they need to give him a number 1 receiver, they just need to be punched in the face.
Oh.
Just punch him in the face. Because he has the weapons there now to be a good passing quarterback. And if you're going to see what I think you'll see a lot more designed runs, a lot more play actions, and then a lot less it'll be the same old. And I think that he'll just go downhill from there.
Right.
Because no receiver will ever go there after that. So that's my view on the Baltimore Ravens. I think that they have a really good rushing attack, and it does really good things for them.
Yeah. But that's where I put Tampa Bay because honestly, after about the first third of last season, once Tampa Bay really started to click and they kind of changed things up a little bit to fit Tom's skill set a little more, they really started to pick things up.
Yeah.
I mean, come the end of the year, they were the second best passing attack in football.
And they're all back. So using last year's numbers is the same as using this year's. So, I mean,
they didn't lose anybody.
And I like Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is solid.
Mike Evans is very underrated.
Oh, extremely underrated. He's a workhorse. I like the Brady to Brady connection. I know it's like Brait, but I like Brady better. Yeah. Gronk will still be there and do some things. So, I mean, they won the Super Bowl, so you can't count them too far down, especially when everybody's still there.
Yeah, second in passing, third in scoring. Also top 10 in not turn the ball over.
Yeah, I think Tom Brady had one of the better down the field numbers with the Bucs. Like, it wasn't just the normal Patriot, dump offs.
Right. No, he had to air it out a lot more than he's used to, but they definitely changed the offense so he wasn't doing it all the time.
Yeah.
Because he ain't got the arm to do that 30, 40 times a game. He has to have those checkdowns, and that's what'll kill you.
Yeah, well, that keeps people on their toes. The checkdowns is basically just a run game. It's like having a running quarterback. You have to make sure people don't know exactly what you're going to do every time. All right.
4.
And no, we're not going to match this one.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, we talked about them both.
Yep.
I was worried. I was hoping you put Tennessee at 5 because then we would have matched on this one. I was this close, but I don't know. I probably gave the Bucs a little more credit because they just won the Super Bowl.
I get it.
And we all know how I feel about Tom Brady.
We all know how we both feel about Tom Brady.
And the whole world feels that way. He's doing a lot better, though. Like, I don't hate him quite as much because he's not in division. And his tweets are actually pretty funny sometimes.
Now, are they his social media team's tweets?
I believe they're his. They seem like his. We'll just go there.
All right.
Anything else you want to add to the Titans?
No, because I covered them a lot better than I thought I would when you brought them up at 7. But again, just a mean rushing attack, and they take care of the ball, and they'll find the end zone.
Oh, they will. They're a good team, and like I said, I think they'll take a step back, but not that big of a step back.
Will they still win their division? Are they going to return as South champions in the AFC?
I don't remember what I picked. Give me a second. I'll tell you. I'll do some crack research.
Ooh.
I'm not very good at it, though.
Well, it just takes practice.
AFC, yes. I do have them repeating as AFC South champions, 12-5.
12-5, yeah.
All right, well, let's move on.
3.
May decide if we'll match up. Because I don't think we will.
This is where I put your Buffalo Bills.
This is where I put your Green Bay Packers.
How?
Remember, I'm looking at next year.
Yeah. Are you already taking into account that Rodgers won't be there?
No. If Rodgers wasn't going to be there, you wouldn't even make the list. You're good. I think 1, 2, and 3, you could be interchangeable, and that's why we're able to be a little biased. But
this isn't biased. Let me just drop a couple numbers on you. Green Bay is the only team in football to have both a top 10 rushing and passing attack. The only one. No other team makes top 10 in both lists. They were the top scoring team in all of football. They gave up the fewest turnovers in all of football. How can they not be number 1?
Because I don't think they got any better. And remember, I'm looking at next year.
Right.
I think Buffalo got better. I think Kansas City got better. I think 1 through 3 could be interchangeable. The difference between Buffalo, Kansas City, and Green Bay, which I assume is our top 3,
Yeah.
is Green Bay didn't do anything to get better. In fact, they've had nothing but turmoil. Even if Aaron Rodgers comes back, he hates the coach. He hates the general manager. I mean, I still think he's going to play.
He doesn't hate the coach.
Everybody hates the coach.
No, everybody hates the GM.
I know he hates the GM, but he hates the coach too.
No, everybody's hated the GM since he pulled the trigger on drafting Jordan Love. We have not been happy with him.
Sure, I forgot about Jordan Love. If he plays, they go to number 1.
Yeah, right.
But again, it's a very tight top 3. It's very tight because they're both extremely talented. I just think that the other 2 teams in my top 3, they got better.
Right.
So
the only reason I put them at 3rd and not 2nd is because they didn't move the ball as well on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't as careful with the ball as far as turnovers went. Like, they weren't even in the top 10 in turnovers or the differential. And if you can't take care of the ball, I can't put you at number 1 or 2.
No, I'm with you. I'm not going to fault you for it.
But
I think that
2.
I bet we match at 2 then.
no,
No? You put the Bills at 2?
I put the Bills at 2.
Oh, that's where I put the Chiefs.
I figured. Again, Buffalo, I think got better. They do get a little slight for not running the ball very well. I do think we'll see a change in that this year. I think you'll see that
fewer turnovers.
Will
we see fewer turnovers?
Yes. I think the turnover thing is also a little bit skewed as someone that watches because there has been lots of turnovers that the refs have done or not done that they have come out later and said they did it wrong. And I just hate that.
Like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but it didn't happen that often to the same team.
I could say easily 3 to 6 of them. Pretty easy, I could say that.
Really?
It was really bad. But, again, what they have done with what Josh Allen did last year, I don't think he's going to get any worse. I don't think he's going to regress anymore. I think he's only going to get better. We added Emmanuel Sanders. We changed up the offensive line a little bit. We retained a lot of the same people. Hopefully Cole Beasley doesn't have a broken leg anymore. John Brown was injured most of the year last year. So having Emmanuel Sanders over that. And like I said, if we get Zach Ertz, I wouldn't even be ashamed to put us at number 1.
I mean, for your sake, I hope so. I would love to see you guys somehow improve on what was already an amazing season last year. But I put the Chiefs at 2 because, other than not being able to run the ball because they just chose not to, they were so good. But I think the problem is they rely too much on Patrick Mahomes, and when he can't get it going, they don't have a plan B. That's their only problem. If you can get to Patrick Mahomes, you win.
Yeah.
That's what the Bucs did.
Well, also he was injured.
He was, but I think if he could have gotten some blocking, he could have made a lot more throws in that game.
Oh yeah, I know, 100%. That offensive line was the Achilles heel of that team, and they definitely made sure it wasn't again.
1.
But you think the Chiefs improved enough to be the best offense? Is it because they kept everybody?
It's because they have Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Super fast. McCole Hardman. Obviously lost Sammy Watkins. They got the slew of secondary. They got Travis Kelce still. Edward Clyde-Helaire.
Yeah.
Got injured. He's still there. And then you have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Across an entire rebuilt offensive line. It's like the who's who. And if it doesn't work, I'll have to eat my words on this one. But I feel like the offensive line, they pieced together like such talent that it should work if he stays in the pocket and lets them do their job. And having what they done and having what he did, maybe not last year, the year before, I know what the potential of this offense is. Andy Reid calling plays, Patrick Mahomes slinging it. They could do some amazing things. I'd like to say Buffalo's better, but they have proven it. And again, I think they got better.
Right.
I think Buffalo got better. I think Green Bay stayed pretty much the same with a lot more turmoil.
I think we got better if Rodgers comes back and if that wide receiver we took pans out. Because he's really good coming out of college, but he has to be able to adjust to the pro level, and honestly, he's going to have to do it pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be relied on pretty fast.
Because he's about the only weapon that we've added, so he has to pay off sooner than later.
What was his name? I can't even remember.
Oh, I had it and then I lost it because I changed my page to something else.
I know, it's my fault.
No, it's just me doing my crack research. I could have opened new tabs, but instead I just kept typing into the same search bar.
So anyway, if you're watching, what do you think? This top three's got to get something. When we're in Kansas City country, I figure somebody's got to agree with me. Tell Matt he's wrong. Now, tell him. Comment.
Amari Rodgers. That's who it was. So if he comes back, we'll have a Rodgers to Rodgers connection.
Nice. Well, I think he will. But if he sits, that changes the list entirely.
Right. But yeah, I put Green Bay number one, not because I'm a homer, but because I read you the numbers. Those are stupid good numbers.
If there's one thing I know about you, Ahlers, you're a numbers guy.
I am a numbers. I love numbers. I love stats because stats are the one thing that really can't lie to you.
See, I go off some of the numbers. I go off what I remember, but a lot of what I do is literally a gut feeling, which is great that we're up the gut. But it really is. I'm just like, something's tickling, like over here on this side, like saying this makes sense, Patrick. Just say it and run with it. And if you're wrong, don't ever talk about it again.
I mean, again, when we're rating stuff, it's our rating. You can't be wrong.
No, and again, we're looking at it completely different. You're looking who is the best offense when the season ended versus I'm looking at who's where we're at now going into the season.
Right.
What we've done with the changes and what it's going to be. And that's the thing about our show. It's our show. We do what we want to do. And damn it, we did it.
Go on and write it.
Flipping hippies.